Well, hello everyone, back again with another live stream Q&A with Hilary Dunn, who's the founder of a company called The Brand Activators. And today we're going to talk about growing your personal brand online, but also offline, but primarily online at the moment. So hi Hilary, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm great. So we've just been having a little chat there, which we'll come back in about all the different platforms and all the different places that this is going out on. So this has been live streamed through LinkedIn. So LinkedIn has a new feature called LinkedIn Live, and at the moment, that not everybody has that feature. So people will be familiar with live streaming, but on LinkedIn, you have to apply for the ability to do live streaming straight into the platforms. And it's not an immediate thing. So I had to apply, I think, in May, June time. And it took a few months before I got the email back to say, yep, you can now do this. So at the minute, it's a little bit of a USP for me in that if people want to do an audience, an interview with me or Q&A with me, they can tap into my network on LinkedIn. And at the minute as well, of all the platforms that I'm sharing video, LinkedIn is definitely the one that seems to reach the most people organically. So have you got any thoughts on different platforms that you're using at the minute?
Yeah, yeah, sure. So Facebook groups are working really well. Great engagement in them as well. So there's just an absolute myriad of businesses, support groups, hobby groups over on Facebook. It's just absolutely alive with business. You know, we know COVID's going on, and out in the business world, it's quiet. But on Facebook, in those groups, it's absolutely buzzing with entrepreneurs. I'm finding it really interesting and quite exciting to see what people are doing, how they're pivoting and taking their business forward, how they're developing. And really what they're doing more than ever is really showing up and being themselves, which is all about brand, which is what we're going to talk about today, I know. But you see it more there because you're talking face to face with people. You know, you're not sending the email, you're actually face to face to your community or one-to-one, and you can do that 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So social media platforms are great. I do use LinkedIn, not as much as I should. I find it really businessy. It's not as community led. That's how I find it. So everybody's got their preference, I know. I use YouTube a bit as well for some of the videos and things that we have for the brand activators for the speakers. So I use that a bit, but Facebook for me, really.
Yeah. Well, it's important to say, well, let's quickly say it, because I'm kind of assuming everyone knows who you are, because I, like a lot of people in the private Facebook group and who've seen other videos that I've been doing, or who came to the 5-day Newcastle Startup Week Festival last year, will know that you were working alongside me on delivering that event. But you have loads and loads of experience of running physical events, and now you've got your own online community as well. So do you just want to quickly say a little bit about your background and what you're doing now with the Brand Activators?
Yeah, sure. So I'm Hilary Dunn, and I've been working in the event sector for over 26 years, mainly in corporate events. I've worked with many well-known personalities and faces. I've been putting people on stages for many years, and I've also worked with some great blue chip companies, from Sky to Sage to Coca-Cola, right across the board. Some great companies: Cadbury's, GlaxoSmithKline, just trying to remember them all. So yeah, I do full event management, events directing, and I also now have a speaker bureau within the business, as well as I've represented so many people over the years that it was just sort of the right thing to do, really, to give them a further hand by finding other stages for them, helping them propel their brand, develop their products. Off the back of that, collaborate with some of them on events as well and create our own events. So yeah, it's a really exciting time. And for me, this is about building my business. You know, this particular business is 3 years old. I've been in the event sector for, as I say, 26 years. But this business is fairly new still, and it's about to scale and go through a period of growth, which is great news.
Good, good. Yeah. And so I mean, you've got experience on both sides, obviously. So as an event organizer who's looking for speakers to go on stage and to excite the audience or fulfill a client's criteria, but you're also on the other side working with the speakers as well, helping them find speaking engagements as well. So you've got that complete 360-degree experience. You know the whole ins and outs and do's and don'ts of doing that. So what we're talking about stages, right? So it just popped into my head before, the Shakespeare quote, "All the world's a stage," right? But it literally is, the whole world is a stage now, but there's lots and lots of different stages. And thinking of the different digital platforms, each one is a different stage with a different audience. So I was saying we're live streaming on LinkedIn here. It's also going out on private Facebook group, the Startup Week Community Facebook group. It's also going on Periscope, which is Twitter's live streaming platform. And then after today, I'll also upload this video to the Newcastle Startup Week YouTube channel and share it on all my different social media channels as well, right? So each of those is a potentially different stage with a potentially different audience. And you were saying before, you think of LinkedIn as more of a professional businessy thing, and Facebook as being more of a community type thing. So yeah, have you got any thoughts on that, on how you might represent yourself differently, or how people can tap into these different platforms, different stages?
Yeah, absolutely. I think when you're looking at getting into speaking, or you're a seasoned speaker, there are so many other platforms, from just the conference hall with 1,000 people sitting in front of you, and that paid speaker route, that's a corporate speaker role. And that's a very different role to what a lot of people want to do, which is to get comfortable with speaking, comfortable with telling their own story, to be able to sort of develop that personal brand. And it's the personal brand that is the most important thing, in my opinion, in taking you forward to be able to scale your business. So there are stages, like we were just talking there, within groups, within Facebook, within groups on LinkedIn as well. Stages are also creating products, books and things like that, courses that you could potentially sell as well. Collaborating with other people and other organizations to be seen as an expert in other people's groups is another brilliant way to be able to, share what you do, to do some teaching and inspiring people along those lines.
Yeah. So in the Facebook group you've got, you want to say about that? What are you looking to offer through that, and what type of people are in there, or would you like to join the group?
Yeah, sure. So I've got people in there who really want to get more visible. That's, I would say, one of the key reasons that people come into my world, is because they're looking at ways to get visible, to be seen as the expert, to win more business, to find new customers. So that's really the crux of why they're coming in. And speaking is by far one of the quickest, easiest ways to be able to grow your visibility. It absolutely is. There are, like I said before, so many audiences out there. There are people that want to hear your story, people who aren't as far on as you, who want to learn from you, learn from what you've done and how you've developed. So yeah, that's what they're coming in for. So I'm there to help them, to coach them, to talk to them about building brand, talk to them about developing their speaking, where to find opportunities to speak, that type of thing.
And the name of the group is Step Up, Stand Out.
Stand Out.
Yeah. So I'll put a link underneath here, but at the minute it's free for people to join that group, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
So I would encourage anyone who's watching this, if they want to learn how to raise the profile, get more speaking opportunities, how to present themselves, how to find work, and anything else around that, then definitely encourage them to join your group, because you're sharing great content in there pretty much every day. And like you say, that people can learn from more experienced speakers as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've created a couple of guides, like the 100 Stage Guide, which is just like it says on the tin, it's 100 stages that you could look to see where you could find speaking opportunities. A lot of those events are free for you to look at speaking on. You don't need to pay to be on them. Some events do ask you to pay to speak, but these events are looking for people for their own events. So obviously some have been affected by COVID, but most of them are annual events. So they'll be back next year, absolutely. And guides like that are really helpful. The Step Up Stand Out guide's really helpful, just to give you the opportunity to assess where you are now in your business when it comes to being visible, and what is it that you can do, sort of 6 short steps that you can do to become more visible by just tightening up on some areas around your marketing and presence.
Yeah, sure. One thing I've been thinking a lot this year, and I've been talking to quite a few people about, is since the lockdown, a lot of people, I was talking to Jeff Ram actually about this, who's an amazing international speaker, about because people are in kind of survival mode, or they're in sales mode. There's been so many people just pushing content out there, you know, that all of a sudden they're setting up workshops, webinars, they're creating their own videos, they're churning out content. Some of it's amazing, some of it's not so good, right? And then also on top of that, you've got Zoom meetings, Teams meetings, loads of emails flying around. And I'm talking to a lot of people who are saying that they're feeling overwhelmed with how much digital content there is. So they're actually disengaging from that because there's too much. So one thing I've been saying to people is that it's one thing creating content and creating your own videos or creating podcasts, but if you don't have an audience already, that's very difficult to not only create the content, but build an audience from very small levels. So what I've been saying to people is it's a smarter thing to do to tap into existing networks. So if someone's already got an audience, yes, you can still do your own stuff and you will naturally build your audience by doing that. But if someone has already got a large following on social media, or they've already got an audience, it's a smarter thing to do to tap into that and piggyback on their audience and their momentum and ride that wave, and then you will get some of that back in return. So, are you seeing the same? Are you? What do you think on that?
Because I do know for sure that there are people joining groups, just to be able to have a look at what content they're doing, how they're engaging with their audience, and then taking those little bits of gold that they found and going off and starting their own. And there is a lot of that going on as well. I think the best thing that you can do when it comes to finding your way in this sort of online area is to get into some groups where you have an interest, where you want to develop, but then look at what you can add. How can you add to that group? How can you comment in the news feed? How can you advise and help people within there just by being generally helpful and chatting? That's all that you need to do, for sure. Just get in and get amongst it. Don't go in there to hive off content. Don't go in there to try and sell anything or be pushy. Nothing like that. Get conversations going. That's the best tip I can give you. Build conversations, join in the conversation, and you'll soon find that you'll start to gain momentum, get more confident, start to think about little products and things that you can create so that you can potentially start your own group. Or free to start a group. You can start one up. You can invite some friends. You could then invite some other friends. Before you know it, you're on your way. But you can buy your way through that by using things like ads. You can absolutely buy your way, buy people into your group. But we were just talking before we came live here that the most important thing, I think, is to grow it as organically as you can, because you'll just fill it with people who will disengage. You might have the numbers in the group, but actually it's about the quality, not the quantity. So I would just think that whole piece through as part of your development plan, your business development plan, when you're looking to grow an audience on social.
Yeah. No, yeah, I understand people want to, they're trying to grow their business, and a lot of people now, part of that is to have their own membership site or groups, paid for services. I understand that. But definitely it's like the internet splintering into so many, like into millions and millions of pieces. and it's very difficult to get an audience. There's only so many hours in the day and only so many groups that people can be a part of. So yeah, if people can be contributive, like if they can actually add value to a group and demonstrate their expertise that way, it might not be an immediate hit, but over time, if you're regularly showing your value. So if someone is a member of your group, then and they're regularly demonstrating their expertise as a speaker or as an event organizer, then people will think, oh, this person knows what they're talking about, and maybe it's worth kind of following up and finding out more about them. Just like in the Startup Week community group I've got, people are joining generally because they're just starting out in business, or they have been going for a little while and they're a little bit stuck and not quite sure how to grow. But I can see within that group, people are starting to do business with each other as well, which is great. That's something I'm really keen to encourage. And that's just naturally happening because people are commenting and they're contributing to the discussion, and then people are thinking, oh, I like this person, I like what they're all about, and then they find out. And then some of those have then gone off to, they're still in my group, but they've joined another group as well that I'm also a member of. So that's just the way it works. But equally, you can, at the same time, you can see people who just come in and just post ads, I suppose, and they're not really contributing to anything. They're just coming in to post information about their product or service, and then they disappear again. And I have in the past, many years ago, I've been a bit guilty of that as well, where I haven't done it for a while, but yeah, people don't like it because they see this spamming if you're just coming in, and even though you might be totally convinced that what you're posting is of value to the other members of that group, if you're literally just bombing in, posting something, then off again, and if people see you doing that in another group as well.
I think you've got to look at this as if you're in a networking meeting in a live environment. You wouldn't just turn up to a networking meeting. Well, some people might, but you wouldn't generally just turn up to a network meeting and go in, throw your leaflets and flyers out there, and then you're off. That's it, you're doing. And that's the point of these groups. It is about networking. It is about building that trust within that organisation. But they do need moderating for sure. And we have moderators in the Step Up Stand Out group just to make sure that nothing's been said that's untoward or not right. But I do look for the members in that group to contribute. I don't want them to sit there as just like an audience and not interact. It is a networking group, so it's important that people with more experience can give a little bit of information or can share their experiences, or advise on some pitfalls that they might have, or some experiences that they've been through, whether we're talking about brand, whether we're talking about insurance, whether we're talking about confidence, mindset, stage presence, whatever it is. It's a network of like-minded people who want to find out more and develop, hopefully, their business that includes speaking and visibility.
Yeah, sure.
I think it's etiquette around it, but I would hate to think where we would all be if we didn't have Facebook. I'm talking for business here. Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and those are the platforms, because we have been able to continue to trade, develop, scale, network with new people through this COVID. And if these platforms weren't around, I think it'd be so much worse, landscape today that we find ourselves in. Absolutely, I do.
Yeah, no, you're right there, because definitely, I mean, people are members of different groups for different reasons. I mean, it's like what I've realized over time is this year in particular is even the physical events, the Startup Week events, and now the online community that I've got. Yes, people are coming in to find out. They want to be inspired. They want to find out about how to start or grow a business. But also, what a lot of people are wanting is to feel supported. They want to be in amongst similar, like-minded people, because if you, and it's a bit of a cliche, but starting your own business can feel lonely sometimes. It's some people are literally on their own, like
Yep.
literally completely isolated because of COVID now. But even if you've got family or friends around you, if you're the only person who's ever started a business or going through that process of starting a business, you can't always talk about what you're going through with your family or your friends. But in Facebook groups or even other types of groups, you can talk openly about maybe the challenges or ask for that help and advice that you need. So I do think there's that's a big part of definitely the group that I've got at the minute. I'm feeling more and more that that's what people are getting out of it, is that feeling of belonging, like that sense of belonging. And that's kind of what I want, so I'm trying to emphasize that a bit more when I'm talking to people about what the benefits are of joining.
Yeah, and that is so important. It is a really lonely journey, running your own business, being the head, or it can be very lonely, and you don't always want to talk to your family about it because they're sick to death of hearing about you whinging on about it in the first place, or worrying about it, or telling them all the woes, and they're just thinking, why don't they just go and get an ordinary job? Why do they put themselves through this? So having a community of people who will actually understand why you can't just give in, why you want to go down this path of running your own business and putting yourself at risk and through all that.
Mm-hmm.
People in these groups understand and they get you. And more than that as well, I find that, I've met people from all over the world
Mm-hmm.
by using groups like this, far more out of my normal geographical reach that I would tend to go for networking events. Obviously with events, I travel all over the place, but that's in event delivery, and you tend to go into the city or town and then you're exiting again. But here, I'm talking to people, all over, and it's nice to talk to business owners.
Yeah, definitely.
They can make decisions.
Yeah,
and
I think that the opportunity to talk to people from outside your immediate area as well is really great, and particularly online opens that right up. So I've noticed in here, we've got 2 comments already on LinkedIn. So one's from Ken Robinson, who is based in Australia. He's actually based in Newcastle, Australia, and Simon Hodgkins, who's in Ireland. So they're watching, or they have been watching this on LinkedIn Live. But Ken is a great example. So I'm a member of a private Facebook group, which is all for people who have membership sites or membership groups, like sharing tips and advice on how to keep your audience engaged, how to offer value, how to build your audience, all that sort of stuff. So, I've been really trying to push the YouTube channel. That's something I've not really spent much time on, is YouTube, because I've wanted people to come to my physical events. But now I'm like, well, okay, everything's online now. I've got loads of great speaker content, talks, presentations, and I'm doing interviews like this. So how do I build the YouTube channel? I was thinking, I really need some help and advice on how to do this. I went onto this Facebook group. Yes. The first post I saw was by Ken. And Ken was like, hi guys, I'm just starting to grow my YouTube channel. And so he was in a similar point in his journey to me on YouTube. He'd just done an interview with one of Australia's biggest YouTubers on how to get started on YouTube. He said, watch the video. If you like it, subscribe to my channel. So it was exactly what I was looking for, right? So I watched his video, loved it, subscribed to his channel, replied to him on the Facebook group, said, Ken, that was exactly what I was looking for. Loved it. I've subscribed to you. I'm in the similar stage to you. This is my channel. If you want to subscribe back, subscribe back. He subscribed back. Then he sent me a friend request on Facebook, which I accepted. Then he video messaged me from Australia so we had a great chat about, he is a sales expert over in Australia. I'm social media marketing. That's my expertise. We've got complementary skill sets. We're both kind of trying to figure YouTube out together. So I did an interview for his YouTube channel. He did one for my YouTube channel. So we've now got 2 great bits of content, and we're speaking to each other almost every other day, just kind of like supporting each other and giving tips and advice and on how to. Amazing how these things happen just if you look and if you take part and put yourself out there.
Absolutely, that's what it's about. It's about conversation, and like you say, where that can lead anywhere.
So he's definitely he's fantastic at what he does. So I would encourage everyone to like check out Ken Robinson, sales and marketing expert on YouTube. I'll put a LinkedIn on a link under here as well. But so he's someone who's really, really good at what he does. He's fantastic. He had lots of success, but most of his success has come through actually picking up the phone, like cold calling, but in a more consultative way. So definitely, if you watch his videos, he explains how he does that, and that he'll go right to the top. He'll go to the senior CEOs of these big companies, but he won't be like, "Oh, hi, are you having a great day today?" And like, you can spot those type of sales calls a mile off. He's much more goes in. He's on their side. He's got an idea to help them grow their business or cut costs or whatever, and he explains how he does that, which is really, really clever. And also, he's an expert at copywriting and doing websites and newsletters, which sound a bit old-fashioned, but actually, he's great at emphasizing the benefits of work for that company or that person rather than the features, which, when I was talking to him, I realized I've been guilty of that, of talking about the features, like this is what you get for your money, instead of putting it back on the person. Okay, these are the benefits to you. This is what you get. These are examples, case studies, testimonials of happy people and how they've benefited from it. So, yeah. But he's tapping into his social media following is small at the minute, but his content is really useful to my audience. So that's why I'm very, very happy to promote him through my audience, because I know my audience would benefit from him, and it'll benefit him and it'll benefit me.
It's like you've got that synergy there, and then that can grow into almost like a spider's web, and you can see where you would just keep growing that.
Yeah.
Interesting. I started my career, Paul, doing corporate sales, commission only.
Yeah.
About sales.
So what's the other thing as well interesting, like Australia, apparently, what you were saying to me the other day, they've only got 15 cases of COVID in the whole of Australia.
Yeah, it's really low. Yeah.
Right? And also, the Australian government, because they don't want any businesses to go bust, they're paying every business owner, I think it's like $3,000 every week, just to keep going.
Go to Australia.
Yeah, and they're giving them a grant as well. So he's like, look, my business was delivering face-to-face workshops and cold calling and doing consultancy. So he's like, I've got this cushion in a way. I've got some money. I'm getting bit, so I'm going to take this opportunity to reposition myself online and move some of my content online, grow the YouTube channel. I want to help as many small business owners as I can. I'm looking to have a membership course, or like an online membership. So his whole thing is using this time wisely to prepare himself for the new year. So so there's a couple of things. Definitely, it's worth checking out how he's doing that. But also thinking, okay, if your local town or city or country or economy is struggling, look to the countries where it's doing well. So Australia, if the economy's all right and they've got money, maybe that's an opportunity for me or other people in my network to look to doing business in Australia. Do you know what I mean? That's the power of not just looking at your immediate network.
Absolutely, yeah. Because of social media, your local network is literally just at the other side of the screen almost.
Yeah,
it might be that they're based in Australia, but you can speak to them at any time to suit the two companies and have a conversation and start, building that up and selling some products or whatever it is, just developing the relationship. But yeah, it's there. It's there. There's no sort of major time zone that you've got to worry about from a travel perspective at all. And interestingly, we've seen that hugely in events as well. Whilst many events have been postponed, we have been able to get a lot of events up and away through using online platforms. It's not the same, don't get me wrong, it isn't the same, and people really are missing that live environment. But it's been important to get some events out there, and it just, even within the brand activators, I'm working with two of our speakers, Jeff, who you mentioned, Jeff Ram and Nigel Risner, and we were to do a live Supercharged Speakers event in June. It was all set, ready to go, and obviously in March we had to postpone it. We'd hoped to run it live again, but we've unfortunately had to go online with it. But it's still going to be a brilliant show, and they're going to be bringing in some other speaker bureaus as well, so not just myself. There's going to be some other bureaus as well there to give people the opportunity to be able to have a chat with other bureaus in a view to getting onto their books as well. So we've got that coming up, which is a live event on the 7th of January, New Year, new start, Supercharged Speakers. So, you know, we're really looking forward to getting back and doing some more events again.
Okay.
Really not doing events, 26 years.
Yeah.
Events, it's just like, oh, yeah.
So what's how do people book, can people still book tickets for that event now?
Yeah, tickets are available. Yeah, we've opened them up to the general public as well now. So yeah, absolutely, we can get a link. But if people go on Step Up Stand Out group, my Facebook group, they will find the link there too as well. And I'll put it on my LinkedIn feed as well. Yeah,
cool. Yeah, definitely after this over, I'll post some links, but if you want to post some links under it to back to your events and to your Facebook group as well. So we're talking a bit about obviously tapping into different audiences, different platforms, different stages, like digital stages. I wanted to ask you a little bit about getting paid, because I know that a lot of people really want to get paid as a professional speaker, and I know recently you've changed your thinking around this a little bit, or like some people want to get paid straight away. They're like, I'm an expert in my field, I deserve to get paid, and it's difficult, you know, to get paid. But there's different ways to get paid, isn't there? Like there's indirect ways to get paid. So do you want to talk a bit about that?
Yeah, I get asked this an awful lot, quite rightly as well. So a corporate speaker is generally somebody who would get paid for speaking each time that they went out. Now, a corporate speaker, in my mind, is a speaker that's hugely experienced in what they do, not in speaking, but in what they do. Hugely experienced, has had quite a bit of success, or has got a sort of major story to tell. That could be something to do, you know, they could have been in sports, an adventurer, for instance, a sports person, an entrepreneur, a young entrepreneur who's doing amazing things very quickly, and they're building a brand around themselves as well. They're starting to get noticed. There's maybe press out and about them, so they become known. And when they start to become known, I'm not saying a celebrity, but you know, they're getting up there. They're of interest to people. People want to hear from them. They've got a nice story. They're a bit different. That's when people will start to pay, and they will be sort of either the conferences or the internal meetings within organisations who want to bring in an expert to give them some specialist knowledge. So they're the types of people that can command a fee, and that's sort of worked on. Usually the speaker will have a good idea of what they want, yet the client will have an idea of what they will be prepared to pay. So it's about finding the middle ground. So that's where we come in to support them with finding that comfortable middle ground. Quite often they may have to negotiate a little bit here and there, depending on what type of event and gig it is. Quite often the speaker will be quite negotiable if they want to work for a specific company to get that branding on their websites and on their Speaker One sheets and things like that. So yeah, it really depends where you are, what you've achieved, what you're doing, and what the brand around you is like, as to whether or not you can command speaker fees. And it's also dependent on how well you know your ideal client, how well you know that niche. You know, it has what you've got to say, will that have a real impact for the client that's looking to book you? So that's what I would say around getting paid to speak. for those people that are just wanting to get into speaking to grow the brand, they need to understand that they're going to be doing so much more than that as well. In growing the brand, they're just opening up lots of opportunities for themselves, and both for themselves as the owner or the entrepreneur or the coach or the trainer, but also for their business. So that, you know, that the publicity that they can receive off the back of these events and speaking opportunities can be immense. And the more you're seen at other places, the quicker that your personal brand and your company can grow and scale.
Yeah, sure. So I'm seeing it. I've got experience of seeing it from both sides. So as an event organizer doing the Newcastle Startup Week event, most of the speakers, like typically over the 5 days, we'd have about 60 speakers across the 5 days, and most of them would speak for free because they wanted to support that event, or they could see the value of being in front of that audience, or they had a product or a service to sell.
Absolutely.
So an indirect, there was a benefit to them in being in front of that audience on that stage, and they just wanted to give back and support it. So most of them, if they've got a product or service to sell, most of them will do that for free. Then there's the others who are full-time professional speakers. That is the product or service. That's all they do. They don't have another product or service to sell necessarily. They are a professional full-time speaker, so they deserve a speaker fee. That's how they make their living. So yeah, it's and I know that you mentioned Jeff Ram, Nigel Risner. You're working with both of those guys. Brad Burton was he is a motivational business speaker, but he's also got a business as well. Those three guys in particular have, they would all be paid to do what we do.
Yeah, exactly. And those three speakers have all got huge experience in what they speak about and their expertise. It's not like they're just any ordinary person that gets up and can do that. They need that experience. They need that backstory. Even when it's sort of celebrity type entrepreneurs, they can demand that fee because they've built that aura around themselves to do that.
Yeah.
I wanted to say about people not getting paid to speak. In my opinion, having the opportunity to go onto somebody else's stage and to speak is like getting paid. It absolutely is like getting paid, because, you know, if you do it right and do it well, you will win business off the back of that.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I know that obviously Nigel and Jeff and Brad and others like them, they haven't always got paid to do what they're doing. You know, there'll have been lots of times when they've done stuff for free because they know it's good for their profile to be seen, to be associated with certain brands or on certain stages. But they've done so many now, and they've honed their craft in such a good way that's the thing that you really notice with professional speakers like Jeff, Nigel, Brad. Like every line counts, like every word counts. You know, they've fine-tuned it such a way. They're not just winging it. You know, they are professionals at what they do, not only on stage, but before they get on stage, afterwards. It's the whole end-to-end process.
Yeah, it's an experience. Yeah, they are their product.
Yeah,
that's the thing with corporate speakers. They are quite often their product. They live it and breathe it, and that's what they do. That's their day job. So it's got to be the best. It's got to be on par. They've got to be relevant. They've got to be always refreshing content so that it resonates with their audience. Absolutely. But of course, you do get the real celebrity type speakers who you know, go on the stage because they've got a bit of celebrity. It doesn't mean to say they're going to be a good speaker, and it doesn't mean to say that they have any longevity doing it either.
No. Yeah, there's definitely, I suppose, a good example of that is, I don't know if it still happens, but The Apprentice, like The Apprentice winners or The Apprentice finalists and stuff, like there used to be, you know, the business show in London. They used to go to, they would always have some of the contributions from The Apprentice on there, and there might be, for maybe that year, 6 months or whatever, people are excited by them or whatever, but then you kind of forget about them, or they're not hot property anymore unless they do go on to do something successful.
And that's fine. And you know, for anybody listening out here who's sort of come across, you know, a latest hot topic or product, maybe it's your time now to, make hay while the sun shines, and to get out there and really use those opportunities exactly like they do on things like Dragon's Den. As soon as they finish with those entrants, they have TV and opportunities with them. You can do that obviously on a smaller scale, like you do at the back of Newcastle Startup Week, Paul. You get a lot of press around what you do at that time, and it's really important that you make use of those opportunities, because they don't come along every day. So using those press opportunities to really magnify what you do is so important.
Yeah, sure. So if anyone is if anyone's watching this and they're thinking, I want to grow my personal brand, and they might not have a personal brand at the minute, what do you think they should do?
Everybody has a personal brand, they just don't realize it.
Yeah. Okay.
For a lot of people, working on your personal brand is a full-time job, and it's forever evolving. You could talk all day about personal branding. So if anybody does want to have a chat with me about that, they can find me in my Facebook group, Step Up Stand Out, and we'll have a chat. I'm going to be doing some stuff in there anyway on personal brands, so you can sit in and have a look and see what you think. But personal branding is very, very important, as is your company branding. And so many things that you can do quite quickly and easily to start making that personal branding really unique, so that you do stand out and you do get noticed, and more importantly, you get remembered.
Yeah.
For the right reasons.
Yeah. I think I think I've got a good personal brand, good personal online, but I know I've got a good personal online brand, right? But I'll tell you, what I think I've been really good at is consistency. Like being consistent and authentic, down to earth. Like, this is who I am, right? So I'm not trying to be anyone else. Like, I can't be anyone else. And I know, again, I keep talking about him, but Brad always talks about spend 100% of your time being 100% you. And you sometimes see people who are trying to copy or emulate people who are already successful and even Stephen Bartlett, who was an amazing speaker at Startup Week last year, a very successful CEO of a social media agency. For a little while, he was trying to be Gary Vaynerchuk, right?
Yeah.
And you could see he was trying to do exactly what Gary Vee was doing. And then he actually said, I'm not going to do that anymore. And he stopped. And the moment he started being 100% Steve, authentically him, that's when I think his personal online brand really took off.
And I see that a lot. I do see people following other people's brands and to get comfortable with what it is that they're needing to do and having to do. For sure, I see that an awful lot. And it's really interesting that you mentioned Stephen, the 27-year-old multi-million entrepreneur that he is, just exited his company Social Chain recently. He's got a phenomenal personal brand around him, and he's done that himself. Obviously, he's had a big team, but he got out there and he would film himself every day with the CEO secret diary that he had. And he's an excellent example of somebody who's really pushed his personal brand. Now he's at that end of the scale doing that. He really is, but there are other things that people can do to start off quite quickly and just get comfortable with it. And, just creating your own brand statement about what you stand for, what your value is, what your USP is as a company and a business. That's the first step that you can take to start to think through, actually, what's my personal brand? What are we standing for? What are we looking to achieve here? It's more of a mission statement. It's about how you're going to make that happen and what your USP is. Yeah.
Well, definitely, I think his podcast is fantastic, like the Diary of a CEO. So I was already aware of Stephen Bartlett through Social Chain from a few years back, and obviously Hot Property. The company was growing fast, and there was a buzz around him and his co-founders. But then I subscribed to the podcast first, and I was watching some videos, and the videos were good. and I was listening to the podcast. So all of these things were kind of just reinforcing the feeling in my head that this guy is someone worth following and watching and seeing where he goes next. So, but the podcast, definitely, that was when I started listening, I was like, bloody hell, this guy, like a 27-year-old guy shouldn't be thinking the way he is. He's so like all beyond his years, so wise about life and business. He's special, this guy. And that's why I wanted him to speak at Startup Week last year. But I think audio podcasts are a really good way to tap into, again, a completely different audience. I have people who listen to, like, I've got a podcast, the Super Connector Show podcast, so subscribe to that. And you're on there as well. There's a great episode with you on that. And there's people who tell me they listen to that. They're not on Twitter, they're not on LinkedIn, they're not on Facebook, but they do like podcasts. So again, and there's something about being in someone's ear.
Yeah, I think it's sort
the head and,
you can sort of switch off to listen.
Yeah.
Take yourself out of business mode and just, time out time. Yeah.
There's a lot of people who maybe listen to podcasts when they're out for a walk or they're going for a run, or it used to be when they were going for a drive, or maybe still going for a drive. There's something about that. You're still taking it in, but in a way that's not like mentally tiring, because you're not staring at a screen or you're not reading or anything, or, you're still taking it in, and it's something about it going deep into your subconscious that I think is does work definitely with podcasts. Yeah. What was I going to say? So what's obviously the your Facebook group? You want people to join that. Obviously, I'm building audiences. I've already got an above average following on Twitter in particular. That's up until now, that's been my main space. LinkedIn, a lot of followers on there. Instagram, something relatively new. I haven't really known what to do with Instagram until earlier this year. But I started using Instagram to go a bit more behind the scenes, a bit more personal. Like these are the, I'm reading, these are the places I'm going. These are things that are inspiring me. And that seems to be resonating with people. Like, so Twitter and LinkedIn is more business. Instagram is more Paul, behind the scenes. This is who I am. So have you got any thoughts on that, like on Instagram, on
I don't use it. I don't use Instagram at the moment. I'd never say never, but it's just not on my radar. And I think people can fall into the trap of feeling that they need to be on everything. And because they need to be on everything, they don't really do anything very well, because they're trying to share content here, there and everywhere, and checking up on your notifications or just creating some content. You can lose half a day, and what have I actually done? And when you look back, you've not really had much traction. So I'd rather be better on one or two and be able to serve that audience and know who that audience are than just carry on, putting stuff out on every platform. So I've tried a bit of Insta, but it's not really for me. And I like to put my own posts out, so it's from me, it's my voice. And I did bring in somebody to, do all my Insta work, but it hasn't struck a chord with me yet. So I never say never. But I'd rather, be the one that writes the content for my Facebook group. So like I say, it's my voice, it's my opinion. I can then go back to people and, have that conversation. I'm in charge of the content I put out then.
Yeah. No, I'm the same. I like to, like, everything that you see me post is me. I don't pre-schedule anything, actually. Is like, I know I could probably save a bit of time I did, but I like to handcraft and post everything myself. But I do it is manageable for me at the bit. Like I do have certain time saving techniques for doing that, and it actually doesn't take up that much time when I do it, because I've been doing it for so many years, and I know how to do it effectively. But definitely, you can't do everything. So I'm on Twitter, LinkedIn. I've got the Facebook group now. I do have some Facebook pages for Startup Week and Plan Digital, but it's mostly Twitter, LinkedIn, now the Facebook group. and Instagram. I'm not going to go on TikTok, right? I've decided, like, there's a lot of people talking about, oh, get on TikTok, that just is a waste of my time going on TikTok at the minute. It's just not, it's a waste of my time to be consuming stuff on TikTok. And I'm not going to get, there's no benefit to me personally or my benefit on TikTok. So I've just decided, I've deleted the app. I'm not going to go that way. But YouTube is definitely something I'm pushing now, is that it is a way to, I'm already doing these interviews, and I'm already, this is a key part of what I do, is this like super connector, meeting and interviewing really interesting. So I'm a super connector of entrepreneurs, intrapreneurs, and investors. So they're the three people that I'm interviewing or engaging with. And why I'm saying that, a few months ago, I think I might have mentioned it a while ago, there's a lady called Brittany Crystal. I would encourage people to check her out. She's an expert in personal branding. Who works with Gary Vaynerchuk, Tom Bilyeu, Tom Bilyeu, Marie Forleo, and various other like really famous online personalities. And she's got a great newsletter you can subscribe to, great podcasts you can subscribe to. She's also got a course called the Brand Clarity course, personal brand clarity course, which I took. And why I did that was because I realized that despite all these followers online, people were regularly saying, "Oh, we'll keep hearing your name and we'll keep saying it everywhere," and people are saying we should follow you and check it, but we're not quite sure what you do. What do you do? And I was having to explain what I do, and I was like, that's a problem if people aren't clear on what I'm doing. And so I need to take control of that. And maybe what I was doing before is no longer relevant, or the followers aren't quite the followers that I want. But the followers I want are entrepreneurs, intrapreneurs, and investors. So from now on, I'm only going to post content that is for those three people. I'm going to specifically interview those types of people, but also update my bio to specifically say that as well. Yeah. And that's helped since I've changed. If you check out my Twitter bio at Lord Lancaster, you'll see how I've worded that in such a way. Not only is that helping me be clear on the type of content I'm putting out and the type of audience I'm going for, the type of followers I'm getting followed by a lot more investors these days than I used to, because I'm specifically saying that that's who I'm for, and that's the type of content I'm sharing. And even though I was speaking to investors a lot, it wasn't obvious that I was doing that.
Yeah.
But now it is.
Yeah, you do really need to spell it out for people, because we assume all the time that people will just get us and get it, and actually they don't.
No.
So you're going to rebrand then?
Sorry?
You're going to have a rebrand?
I mean, that I'm still doing what I was doing, but I'm just being I'm just clearer on what in the way I word it, because I think people are looking for reasons not to follow you as well as follow you. So that people are just so quickly just scrolling through things. So if they don't immediately get who you are and what you're doing, then they might not engage with you. So some of the members of the startup community, this is, I've been helping them with this a bit, where basically what happens is when people, so yours is a free group, which is great. Mine at the minute, you have to pay to join. So people have to pay £75.
So it's a membership?
It's a membership. And the reason I'm doing that is I want to make it kind of, I want to make it exclusive to people who are really, really serious about wanting to start business. And also, I can't live off fresh air. So in my time, I know that if they're in that Facebook group, they're going to get a lot of value from the other members, but I will be hands-on with them as well. So what happens is when people join, they get to book a one-to-one consultation with me. So that's 30 to 40 minutes typically, where I'll review their online presence, their social media profiles, and I'll give them some suggestions on that. But I'll also ask them like where are they at now and what challenges do they have, and I'll advise them on that. And pretty much every time I've done that, I've been able to help them immediately. If not, I've gone away and I've thought about it, and then I've gone back to them with some suggestions that they can do. And some of them had that clarity of message. So I've, off the back of that, I've told them how they could change that, and they've changed it and it's working for them. Or I've said, okay, you want to raise your profile. Well, one thing that you can do as being a member of the Startup Week community is you can appear in a video. You know, you can, every month we do these Founders Friday events. People can do a presentation about their products or services, which will be shared in the Facebook group initially, but then it'll be shared on the YouTube channel and across social media channels afterwards. So yes, they're paying £75, but they're also tapping into that 30,000 plus social media following. And they're also
paying because you're giving them value.
Yeah. And it's understanding what people want. Some people want that. Some people want tips and advice. They want inspiration. Some people want to accelerate their growth. They want to tap into an audience. There's different reasons why some people want to be professional speakers. And so, yeah, just figuring out all the different ways that people can do it. And going back to what I said before about my conversation with Ken Robinson, really, even just a week ago, got me thinking, okay, I'm not being clear enough about the benefits of joining the Startup Week community. So if people go on to the newcastlestartupweek.com/community, I've just updated that, and it's really clear. There's 5 benefits, like there's 5 potential reasons to join the Startup Week community, and it's less about the features of the group. It's more about the benefits to the audience, and that's only come about, in my head, the clarity from conversations with members and these one-on-ones, and understanding what it is that they want.
And it's ever evolving as well, Paul. You know, how you start it, like in business, how you start the business isn't going to be how you finish it. And same, you know, your Facebook group or any membership group that you do, what you start with, it will evolve out over time as well, which is great. So, you know, it's kind of static.
Yeah. Well, it's you know, it's growing. You know, people are getting value of it. I get a lot of value out of it. I enjoy. I really love talking to doing the one-on-ones. I love doing that, and I like people getting value out of it. I like helping people. I like signposting people, and I'm in there all the time. So so I know you are in your group as well. So we'll just say again, if people want to join, it's the Step Up Standout Facebook group.
Yeah.
Is it? We'll put a link. But is there anything else you want people to do? I know you've got some good guides on your website as well.
Yeah, sure. So really, if you go into the Facebook group, you will find everything in there. If you want to have a look at some of the speakers that I represent, go and have a look in the website, the Brand Activators, the company website, thebrandactivators.co.uk. And you'll see some of the 70-odd speakers that I represent, and also some of the events that I've worked on and brands that I've worked on as well over my 26-year career in the industry. So yes, go check me out.
Brilliant. Thank you. And obviously people can watch this on replay, but this video will be on the Newcastle Startup Week YouTube channel as well. So if people, I'm going to get the plug in. If people want to go there and subscribe to the Newcastle Startup Week YouTube channel, then they'll be notified as soon as new videos go up. But also there's already a load of great speakers, presentations and talks from the Startup Week event earlier this year, and some new videos on with business growth advice as well. So yeah, check that out. Okay, thank you, Hilary. Always love talking to you, and I am a member of your Facebook group, so I'm going to get more involved in that as well. So let's share this video in there as well, and encourage people to watch it and get more value out of it. Okay.
Brilliant. Great to catch up as always.
Thank you. All right, I'll end that there.
All right, take care.